Okay. Okay, like I said earlier, in tonight's class, we are going to be looking at how to document requirements effectively, or the requirement documentation, and we'll talk about modeling as well. Yeah. Mhm. Okay, let's get started. Requirements documentation and modeling are critical tasks for business analysts. After a requirement gathering meeting, the artifact captures the need and expectation of stakeholders and provide clear foundation for project development. So effective documentation help ensure alignment across team and stakeholders, while modeling visualizes processes and requirements to identify gaps. So documentation and modeling will document the requirements of captured. We need to document it in a very professional way by trying, because during the requirement gathering, we capture a transcript. That transcripted information needs to be documented professionally in an organized manner that we shows both functional, non-functional, like I stated, requirements, classification. That's the way we should document it so it become professional. And while doing that as well, we equally need to carry out modeling. Modeling is that most cases we are talking about requirements. To understand requirements and understand the gap, that is the need, we try to understand the full process. We document the full process, we model the full process. That modeling is going to give us a quick grasp of finding out where the gap lies within the whole process. We call it process modeling. So this is where the modeling comes in. For instance, if we are trying to understand the as-is, the current process of lead management, we'll do lead management process. That is a process modeling for lead management. We use unified modeling process to model it, called unified modeling process or unified modeling tool. We model it into flowcharts or into a map. We map it out, call it process map as well. So these are two areas we try to look into very well while trying to do this requirement documentation. So these are the key components of requirement documentation. We have requirement specification, we have a process flow documentation, we have stakeholder requirement metrics, data requirements, user stories, use cases, and risk and assumption. So these are key components if we want to have a thorough requirement documentation that is very professional. Under requirement specification, we talk about functional requirements. That is the behavior or the features that is functional of a system. what the system must do. The functional talk about the behavior. We can feel it, it's functional. Then we have non-functional requirement. It's more like a system performance, scalability, usability, security. Then we have business rules, constraints, or policies that the system must adhere to. This is what we call requirement specification. We must have to come under this in our documentation. So once we have requirement specification under these headings, then we have process flow documentation. With process flow, we try to understand the flow of every process. That is the end-to-end movement of a process. When the process starts and when the process ends. What are the activities within the process? We take it item by item, simple processes that make up the full process. While looking at each process, one after the other, then we'll try to understand which process has faults, which process needs improvement. Then we start spotting the gaps within the full process. We call it process flow. And we use this acronym as is. As is a popular acronym or jargon in a business analysis. It means the current process. Mean as it is at that point. Yeah, that's what it means as is. So when we say as is, we mean current process or current state. Then as we are mapping as is, we are trying to understand to be. To be is the future process. Philip and Vivian, please put yourself on mute. Okay, so we have as is and we have to be. We must equally try to model or capture the documentation this way. It's important. This is something you have to learn as a business analyst. Process modeling or process flow. You're going to use, that's why we are known with a language called Unified Modeling Language. Just like in data analysis, they have SQL. In business analysis, our own language here is Unified Modeling Language, modeling language. If you go to AI, now the language you have is called prompt. That is their language. So if you go to developers or software engineers, they have their own language called programming language. So we use Unified Modeling Language for all these modeling these processes. We do it all the time. If you're a business analyst, you might find yourself creating up to 2 process map. Depending on how busy your environment, you might create up to 2 to 3 process map on daily basis. As you are creating, you are reviewing, you are looking for gaps. So you keep on creating, modeling your processes. It will help you to identify gaps easily. So as we capture as this process, we equally look for to be process. It means the desired process or system after the implementation. Then you equally need to document stakeholder requirement metrics. Within all of them are now going to be documented in one document. You capture all of them in one document. List of stakeholders, their expectation, and specific requirement. Because you have already interviewed stakeholders at this point, you have understand what every stakeholder need. Within every stakeholder, in this stakeholder metric, we need to state what every stakeholder wants from this project. You must state it. All the stakeholders you interview during the documentation, you come and say, these people, this is what they want. These people, this is what they want. Sales and marketing, finance, this is what they want. And data requirements, inputs and outputs, and data processing model. The kind of data that need to be captured or need to be worked within this environment or process, you need to capture the data schema. How does the data looks like? Equally important to capture it. Then we have user stories. Equally need to capture users. But at this point, at the point you are starting, you might not capture user stories at this point. But as they are progressing, there is need for you to start creating user stories, because you are going to start translating functional requirements to capture into user stories. At this point, what you are capturing is functional requirements. They are still business requirements at this point. So it cannot be worked upon this way by developers. You need to translate or transform this functional requirement into user stories. But this one is going to be within the planning or the phase 2 of the project. So requirement documentation is not a one-off. Just like I told you guys that requirement gathering is not a one-off, but you have to just get started. So as your documentation continues, you capture user stories. We are going to treat user story as a topic when we are going to look at backlog, product backlog. So description of features from end user perspective, often in the form of, as a user, I want to perform this action so that I can achieve so goal. So you need to document user stories over time. Then use cases. You equally need to create use cases. How does whoever is going to use this system, how are they going to use it? How many people are going to use it? Do all these 5 people going to, what are they going to use it? What do they need to achieve from using it? We call it use cases. These are things we are going to discuss in detail, because this is what makes business analysis, more especially technical. We call it technical business analysis. This is where the technicality started when you are trying to create user stories and use cases. And the use cases is this scenario description describing interaction between the user and the system. And then you have equally need to talk about risk and assumption. Within the requirement documentation, as you still need to capture expected assumption, mean what needs to be done, what you assume that need to happen. If those things do not happen, it becomes a risk. So you need to state risk and assumption, risk associated with meeting the requirement, and key assumption made during the documentation. Then, once the key documentation is done, you start modeling. There is need for modeling. We say modeling, we do modeling using unified modeling language. I've already spoken about that. We do process map, one of the modeling visual representation of workflow, including assist and to be. So we need to use a process map or a flow chart to create a documentation, assist and to be. Then data flow diagram. You need to create, depending on the kind of solution you are working on. Not everything will have like all this data flow diagram. If you are working on data related projects, then which involves data handling, then you need to illustrate how data moves through the system. Then entity relationship diagram. Define relationship between entities. So you need to equally model them. Wireframe and mockup. It depends on the kind of project you are working on. Not all the projects you start creating mockup or prototype, but is mostly if you are dealing with products, softwares, fresh implementation, there is need for this kind of wireframe and mockup. So visual prototype of the system interface, and then swim lane diagram. We use swim lane as well to depict processes divided into lanes for each owner or role. We equally use case diagram for use cases, visualize the relationship between actor and the system. So this is all the diagrams and all we need to achieve using this modeling. As you can see, modeling is an integral part of business analysis at the technical level. You cannot be a business analyst without being very technical in modeling. It's not so difficult. It's just like you must, those who love artistic work, you are going to like it. But it's just diagram, creating diagram, using softwares like Draw.io, Lucidchart, Visio. We have already done that because, sorry, I remember when we created a diagram for work breakdown structure in project management. So that is it. It's still part of modeling. Okay, steps to create requirement documentation and modeling. First, conduct requirement gathering meeting, which you have done. You've done that before you can start. We did it. We've now learned how to conduct requirement gathering. Then organize the information. Categorize requirements as functional, non-functional, and data related. We've already talked about how to organize that. Develop, assist, and to be model. Analyze current flow and design the future workflow. We already talked about assist and to be. Then validate requirements with stakeholders. So when you document it to this point, send it back to stakeholders for validation. I told you that this word validation is approval. You need to validate, keep on validating. You don't, anything you do before you move to any stage in business analysis, you must get approval. You must get validation. Like so many of you who are now in these projects, some of you are already who are planning to create project charter from project brief, boom, to project charter. Where is the validation? Who validated all their work? Who authorized their, that is validation. That is why it is not easy as you think. That you just start back within 2 weeks. If it's that, we will not be looking for business analysts because I can sit down here and do the work of 20 persons in 1 day. Yeah. So you need validation before you can start and you can move to requirement analysis. You must validate the documents, the requirements that you've captured that you document. If they are happy, then you have a pass to go do the analysis. If you go do the analysis without validation, you're on your own because you might be analyzing the wrong data or wrong information. So be watchful about validation. You need to do validation. Then draft supporting model. Use diagram like process map and data flow diagram for clarity. Iterate and finalize. Review the document for completeness and make sure you update based on any feedback captured. If you follow these steps, you are going to be on the right path. So let's have a look of some of these documents. Requirement document for PayGo CRM implementation. PayGo is a remittance company, and this is the requirement document for PayGo when they plan to implement a CRM system. First, see the way the document goes. It starts with document control. That is versioning. Anytime you update your requirement document, then you give it version 2. Anytime there is an update, version 3. You must have this version control. You cannot just come and delete and add another one. For instance, if you captured a feature like, let's say, file, and later stakeholders say they don't want file again, you come and delete file. You just come to the document and delete file and say they don't want it again. That is the wrong way of doing documentation. If they don't need this feature again, file, good and fine. If they have resolved, follow the due process, do change the request process, and it has been approved that this file need to be removed, good and fine. All you need to do is you create another one, where this one is removed. You are not going to delete this version 1, the original. It's just like what we did in project management, where we call it, who will say that word for me? I know, but I want to know if our brain should be very fast crisscrossing. Elijah, you are in my wrong hand today. Stop scratching your head, just give us an answer. So Elijah is called, you are mute.
Sorry, sir. I couldn't hear you clearly.
I said, what do we call versioning or version control in project planning?
Versioning and version control.
Okay, Irene, I see you laughing. Just
it's called baselining.
if Irene, yeah?
Baselining.
What?
Baselining. This is Ginika.
Baselining?
Yes.
Okay. Elijah,
sir.
Give Irene your head so you receive a head knock.
It's Ginika, it's not Irene.
Ginika, did I ask you? So Ginika, I'm going to throw you out of this class. I want a decorum. And when you want, I know you are very intelligent, but when you want to, if you are turn to answer, you answer. And before you answer, you put your camera. So that is it. Anyway, we move. So it's called baselining in project planning. And yeah, so that's what you must know how to do as a business analyst, version controlling. So, and once you show us the version it is, you start with executive summary. You see here, according to PayGo business analyst, it started with executive summary. He said that PayGo is a multi-agent remittance marketplace based in London that aims to improve its lead management process through the implementation of customer relationship management CRM system. This document outlines the functional, non-functional requirements as is to be processed and the comprehensive solution approach for the CRM implementation. Does it look good or not? So, if eventually after creating this and they fire this business analyst, this is already the document of this company PayGo. Any business analyst who comes in and looks at this executive summary automatically knows what this guy documented. So your document should be readable, easily to understand, can be used, very portable. Then you have business objective. What is the business objective? To automate lead capture, assignments, and tracking, provide real-time dashboard for performance analysis, enhance lead conversion rate and customer satisfaction, reduce manual workload and error in lead management. You see, we've captured the objective here. That is what we plan to achieve in this project. Clean documentation. Then project scope. In scope and out of scope, implementation of a CRM system for lead management, automation of lead capture assignment and follow-up reminder, integration with existing communication channel like email, phone, and web form, training for stakeholders on CRM usage. Out of scope, non-lead management functionalities of CRM is out of this scope. Integration with external finance or accounting system is out of this scope, because some of us who are going to be so overzealous, they will start even implementing the one they did not ask them to do because they feel it's a piece of cake. I can do it. Don't do what you are not asked to do. Just like Irene started answering questions. For me, Irene is already out of scope in this because you are not asked to do that. Follow instruction. You know, I made a Geneka. So try to follow instruction. Do what they ask you to do. There's a lot of things that look so good while you are going to be working. So, oh, they are going to like this. Let me show them that. I'll give them assignments after implementing it. They did not ask you. Nobody asked you to come and give them assignment. Do what they ask you to do. It's very important. That is why it's clear to state out of scope. You see, if you go to CRM system, most of the out of scope are very near to the scope. They are within the border, you know, border. These are the border. You can see Nigeria and Cameroon. There is so many juicy border between. There is a juicy requirement within Nigeria, and that is Bakassi Peninsula. You see, it's very, very tempting to just venture into Bakassi and start mining. You see, it's a contentious place. As a matter of fact, Cameroon owns it. So they try to show you, oh, don't enter there. It does not belong to us. This is what drags so many projects down, out of scope. Okay, now you might say, I've done my stakeholder analysis. It is not ended. The stakeholder analysis you did is to help you to prepare this document as you are progressing. So now you understand their stakeholder. The first one, you identified your stakeholders. Then you have identified the stakeholders' expectation during the requirement gathering. Then going forward, you need to document, because when you identify the stakeholder and did the analysis, you did not understand everything they need. It was during the requirement gathering you understand all their technical needs. And this is here, you document it very well. Now you can see stakeholder, sales team, interest, role and interest, end user of CRM, and the expectation. What are they expecting? Easier lead assignment and tracking. Sales manager, This is the role. This is what they want to achieve. Customers, inquiries. This is what the customers want. IT team, CRM implementation and support, seamless integration with existing systems. This is what everybody needs. You must try to understand everybody's need. And once you've done that, yes, you later have to do prioritization based on the importance of this need. So, but you've captured what everybody need in their own column and row. Then you come down, keep on breaking them down. Now you need to clearly demonstrate which ones are functional requirements. Just like we stated, you come down here, you see requirement, functional requirement, you see requirement ID, you see FR, that is functional requirement 001, automate lead capture from email, phone, and web. And priority, you see, is high. You see the way you are prioritizing them. You started your prioritization. You see requirement function FRO2, assign lead to agent based on predefined rule, high, and requirement functional requirement 3, high, functional requirement 4, medium, and functional requirement 5, high. So all the requirements here, you've classified and prioritized all the requirements based on their importance. Then you step into non-functional requirement. You are capturing them. You see it has its own code, NFR. That is non-functional requirement 1, high, 2, medium, 3, high, and 4, which is represent system response time must not exceed 2 seconds. That is the speed and performance. So you see here is medium. So, and that is it. You've captured, you've documented non-functional requirements. Then we talk about as is and to be. You come down here, and this is when you started capturing the as is. Process flow. Now you capture them one by one here. You see the first step. Look at here. Current process is highly manual. So that is the manual process of lead management. So involves lead capture via Excel, manual assignment, and weekly report compilation. So you capture them here under a process. See, the first here is capture inquiry. You see customer inquiry, lead capture, manual lead assignment, follow up, and update lead status weekly reports. So you see you've captured, this is a documentation, you've documented it very well. Then you come here under to be, how do you want it? How do they, not you, how do they want it to be after this improvement? Because we are trying to improve on this as is, the current state, you need improvement. After improving it, how does it look like? So it means how does good things here looks like? So the new phase of their CRM system should be, lead management should be a comprehensive CRM system that automates lead capture, assign and track seamlessly to improve operational efficiency. So that is the way it should be after the implementation. So how is it going to look? You started the process as you improve them process by process. So this is the process we are talking about. This is the step. So this is the first process. This is the description of the process, and this is the owner of the process. So this is the second process. This is the description of the process. This is the owner of the process. You see the way these are highly, it's very easy to understand. Anybody, even with this document, if you give it to somebody in primary school, he's going to understand it very well because it's very much clear documentation. So you follow this way, you have captured the to be, that is the future process of lead management. That is it. Then you come down, we'll talk about data requirements. How is the data supposed to look like under the data requirement? Data requirement number one, you say field for capturing lead details. Under field that capture lead, what data set are we going to be capturing? You see that the kind of lead details we need to capture, this is data. We need their name, we need their contact info, we need their inquiry type, we need the source where we capture it. So data import and export functionalities for Excel and other formats. So it must be within the Excel and other formats. We need to import data into the system. And then role-based access to ensure data security. Meaning that this data, in order to manage this data, we need access control. So that is role-based. We need to know whom have access to this data. You must be assigned, you must be given access before you. So meaning that sales rep must be given access. The amount of usage must be controlled. So the sales rep, the way sales rep uses data or accesses data might be different the way the sales manager accesses that. So data, that is data requirements. Then you come to risk and mitigation. What are the risks envisaged or you foreseeing? Number one, lack of user adoption, and it's very high. You state the mitigation, provide comprehensive training for stakeholders. So you are seeing that the user adoption, they might be resistant, they might want to remain where they are. So to make sure that we mitigate this resistance, we promise them comprehensive training. Then data migration error. During the migration, we might start miss some them if we don't define data very well. So to do that, we must conduct in a trial migration and conduct validation of the data. Delay in implementation, high. Define clear timeline and milestones. So these are risks, and the mitigation plan is already in place. Then you need to state success criteria. What good looks like. What good looks like here is 90% of lead are captured automatically within the first month of implementation. Secondly, lead response time is reduced by 50% within the first quarter. And thirdly, positive feedback from 80% of agents and managers using the system within the first 3 months. And appendix, you need to attach all the relevant documents like use case document, lead assignment automation, user stories, lead capture, assignment and reporting, process maps. You need to capture all of them in the appendices. And that's it. You've done a good documentation. Yeah, it does not end there. We have not done any modeling, but this is a good start. You can see documentation might not be as so easy as you think. Is it not write down what Mr. Charles said? During our requirement, Mr. Charles said we need. No, that is not how it is. It must be professionally done. So we have another example here on PayGo lead management. So now we are planning to do the modeling. Before we do the modeling, we need to break this down into process flow. The documentation needs to be further detailed into process flow. And we look at the way it is now. Under lead acquisition, we break them down this way. Lead acquisition, who does it? A marketing agent, what they do. You see lead qualification. You see the way we're breaking, that's called process flow. You see the way it's flowing, step by step, step by step. And after this process flow from lead acquisition to lead qualification to lead assignment to lead follow-up to lead conversion, reporting and analysis, we equally captured the actors, who is the actors and what they are doing. Actors here are like the sales manager, marketing agent, sales manager. You need to show what everybody is doing. And after that, we need to, because we have different actors here, so we need to use what we call this swim lane. This is what we call swim lane. We know we made a mention of swim lane. We need to use swim lane diagram. Swim lane diagram, it shows that when you are trying to model, you need to create, each owner or agent have their own lane. You see how they are moving from one lane to another lane. You don't go to another person's lane. You stay on your own lane. So, but you see, it helps you to see how, that's what we call them, cross-functional team. This is a cross-functional team performing this operation. Sales manager, only this, what they are working on is lead management. How many people are working on this lead management? We have marketing agent, we have sales manager, we have sales representative, we have all of them working, but they have to stay in their own lane. So when you're creating a diagram, you need to show it this way, the way they are moving. You see, marketing agent, this is, they perform their own, they pass over to sales manager move, then come down here and then move to, if he finishes his own here, he pass over to the sales rep continue from here and finish, pass back to sales manager, and sales manager did the reporting and the analysis, and then reports are generated manually and consolidated, consolidating data from various sources. And this is where the process ends. You need to show a diagram like this, so that it's going to be easy during the analysis. So when you show a diagram like this, then that's when the analysis, it makes the work easy for you during the analysis. So you can easily perform a very quick gap analysis on this process. Now, as a smart and a experienced business analyst, you come here, all you need to do is just call a meeting. Stakeholders call their meeting. Now I've modeled this. I want us to look at all the processes that we need to automate, or a process that is outdated. So it becomes a team. So you have a meeting, you pick this lead acquisition, you brainstorm about it, then they say, no, all of you agree to leave it the way it is. Then you come to lead capture, manually say, no, you agree that we need to be automated. When digital 21st century, we can't leave it the way it is. And that is the purpose of this. We say, okay, we highlight it as red, that this is no longer value added. So you have to look for all the processing that is no longer value added. We call it value stream map. I call it process map or value stream map. This is what we use in what we call Lean Six Sigma. We try to understand what does not have value. You know, you try to look at them. This, you are removing the waste within this process or improving on them. As either you waste reduction, you remove all this waste, you call it lean. If you're applying lean, it means you are going to remove all the processes that doesn't add value. You remove them entirely. If you are using Six Sigma, it means that you need to identify the process that doesn't add value and improve on them. So what we are using here, instead of lean, because we are not removing them, we are applying Six Sigma, and we are going to be improving on all the activities we highlighted on red, because we believe that it can be automated, it can be improved upon. That is how we keep analyzing one after the other, all the processes one after the other. After analyzing them one after the other, then we have to understand areas that needs improvement in our manual capturing, and that is going to take us to what the future is going to be. We come down here and start preparing for the future process. Based on what we've done up here, we map out future process, and this is the future process under lead acquisition, lead qualification, lead assignment, lead follow-up, lead conversion, reporting and analysis. We've mapped it out and is ready for improvement. So we need to still map that out. It's not mapped out, but that is still need to be mapped out. So we use this process map here. We create it just the way we created this, and that's it. So that's what we're going to be doing. So the next thing we are going to do, which is not today, is to talk about this process map here. How we are going to create a process map here with draw.io. Tomorrow is not work here. So, but next class we are going to do requirement modeling. Yeah, we're going to create this. So, but that is it. So if you are going to start your requirement documentation and modeling, so this note is a very good template for you to start. And all these are templates. You can use them. Template, you see the way it is. They are all templates. You see, they are templates. You see here, starting from here, is a template. And I see some people are keep on asking me for template. For those who are asking for templates, I'll send a lesson note, and they'll still come back. Just send template. It means that I ignore, so I will start ignoring some of you, because it means you don't follow the class. If you be following our class, I've told you that most of our lesson notes is a template. So if you go through this note, you are not going to come back and tell me, I don't know how to carry out a documentation of requirements. So that is it. If you have questions, and I have a bonus at the bottom here, which is for another this thing. So it's a bonus. Well, I'm not going to talk about it, because this is what you guys are going to do. So, but I'll just leave it. So this is case finance and account activities in Nearas Limited, and it's going to be for ERP. And what you guys are working on is ERP. So I'm not going to talk about it. But if you are smart, this is an expo for you. You need to customize it into your own, because you are not working in Yaras, you are working in 65. So yeah, that's it. And matter close. So if you understand this very well, you're already a half-baked business analyst. So by the time we finish our modeling, you can call yourself half-baked business analyst, because you are not a full business analyst until you should be able to complete this boot camp. Then when I call you business analyst, not just technical and business analyst, because we have two types of business analysts. Business analyst just does handle only business requirements. They are just only just to gather requirements and document and analyze. Or some start converting the business requirements into technical requirements, that which is used as stories and acceptance criteria and other things. So if you got question, yeah, it's time for you to ask question, and I will provide answer to the best of my knowledge. Okay, well done, everybody. Thank you for not asking questions, and I will see you next time.